So where do you see value stream going?
So I think 2023 is going to be a really key year in the evolution to value stream management. I think you're going to see more and more of the core concepts and principles be adopted, not just by the innovators, but by the early adopters, and I think the early majority, if you will. Again, we've been on this journey for a few decades now, right? Going from agile transformations in the early 2000s to DevOps and maybe 15 years ago. And this is a natural next step in this maturation and this continued push as more and more companies become software companies and as software permeates everything we do. And so some of the big trends that we're seeing that we think are going to continue to accelerate in 23. First, there has been clearly the beginnings of a recognition that in order to deliver on value stream management, we need to be able to measure not only and get better at not only how we build software, but the value that that software delivers. And those things are hyper related, but they're different in many ways. And how is really about automation and agility and data and using machine learning to help us go faster, but with high security and quality and frankly confidence. Value part is really about measuring, are the software investments we're making, the new versions, the new features, are they driving business outcomes, or did we just release code for the sake of releasing code? And I think those are, again, really important elements, but just a little different. And folks are, adopting different metrics and views into getting better at both of those key elements. Second, we're seeing companies, and this shouldn't be surprising, we are seeing companies adopt value stream management and value kind of based development in incremental phases, not in a big bang approach, right? And again, this is not uncommon. Most of the revolutions in the world happen very evolutionarily. And so we're seeing folks, again, talk more about how do we integrate our end-to-end tools so we get better visibility end-to-end? How do we talk less maybe about business and IT alignment and talk more about business and software integration, where the business is the software and the software is the business, which is becoming the case with more and more companies. And then we're seeing folks adopt what are relatively simple constructs, but are very, very powerful. Things like OKRs are starting to be adopted more and more. Things like NPS and other KPI. This doesn't have to be overly kind of complicated. We can get started with having those value-based conversations. And again, we're seeing that happen more and more. And then lastly, the big prediction that I'd have for this year, and frankly, it really started in 22, if not even a little earlier than that, is we are going to start to turn the data that is thrown off by the business process of developing, delivering, and managing, so both on the development and the operations side of the house. I think you're going to start to see that data democratize more within the enterprise. We're going to go away from kind of domain-specific data warehouses and team-level dashboards to be able to get an enterprise end-to-end 360 view from idea all the way to running software, and whether or not that software actually drove the outcomes that we are ultimately expecting. And then we won't stop there, as we're doing in Digital.ai. And this is a big thing that gets me excited, is we'll then apply machine learning and AI to that robust data set using data lakes and new models to be able to actually predict the future based on the past, to be able to go faster, to be able to have higher quality, to be able to find risk before it makes itself sort of obvious to us, and finding it earlier and often, that shift left that we've always been talking about, but doing that also now with data driving that. So I think those three dimensions, this sort of the difference between how and you build software and the value that software delivers, the incremental adoption of getting to value, and then using data in everything that we do. I think those are going to be kind of three big elements here in 2023.
Mm-hmm. I know you kind of touched on this briefly, but how does Digital.ai's solution kind of help address this, help companies like kind of move their value streams into this like next wave of where it's going?
Totally. I mean, in some ways, or many ways, this is why we exist, right? And the things that we think are interesting and where the trends are going are where we're going to spend our time and our money and our effort. And we think about it very specifically for the enterprise. We love all types of businesses, but we try to focus on the challenges that the enterprise has at scale, heterogeneous environments, complexity, et cetera. And really over the last few years, both from an organic and inorganic perspective, we've attempted and we believe we are delivering on bringing a kind of a market leading end-to-end enterprise solution from planning to SCM to testing to security to DevOps, everything from idea to running code. But we are doing this tying together our own tools into a platform. But we believe in the enterprise, unlike others in the market, we believe that the enterprise is always going to be heterogeneous. We don't think there's going to be some grand rip out all the tools and put Digital.ai in only. We believe we got to coexist because the enterprise is dealing with decades of software archaeology, decades of tools that have been there to help them. And so we really have focused our platform on being an open, integrated platform with hundreds of out-of-the-box integrations to be able to help tie together some of those heterogeneous environments. So again, we're really focused in that capacity around helping folks on how they build software. We've then supercharged all of that with next generation data lakes and analytics and machine learning to help organizations get that 360-degree view backwards. So of course, we do domain-specific dashboarding, but we also have best-in-class DORA and flow metrics and product owner 360s and CIO dashboards where you're bringing 3, 4, 5 different data sources together to be able to give a better panoramic view. And in fact, as the person at Digital.ai that runs the majority of our development, I use these dashboards no matter where I am in the world. I use these analytics to see what's going on with my teams and how we are progressing. And then we go one step further. We use that machine learning and AI I mentioned earlier to start to predict the future, again, based on the past. And lastly, I've touched on this a little bit, but we wake up thinking about the enterprise. And so when we think about that, it's about not just teams and individual tool chains, but it's teams of teams and tool chains of tool chains. It's not just the new development efforts. It's got to be for all, from mainframe all the way to the latest in containers in Kubernetes. And we need to do that at enterprise scale, enterprise security, and all of those elements. And so, look, we're super excited about the role that we think we can play in helping the organizations not only improve how they build software, but also to measure and manage and optimize the value that software delivers.